sign. Stag's in the area. Stay on it.
I needed to change up my tactics. Look, it was warm temperatures. I thought that the stags would definitely be coming to water. I made a decision to move the blind. All of a sudden, I catch movement.
Deer.
Did you ever have one of those hunts that will just stay with you for the rest of your life? Well, I had a hunt like that in New Zealand for red stag a few years ago. I had a 400+ inch stag, crest the mountain at 25 yards in the mist, double drop tines, got a 25-yard archery shot, and my son filmed the whole thing and caught it all on video.
That's the one we saw last night. Yes, that was a good shot. We got that boy, I tell you, we got that boy. He's not going anywhere.
Right there. Oh, man. That is an animal. That is an animal, man. Whoa!
And that was my first experience with hunting red deer, red stag, anywhere in the world. And to do it with archery equipment was just off the hook. A few years later, I got the opportunity to come to Argentina to hunt red stag with my bow in the Patagonia region, which is the southern part of Argentina. This was an incredible hunt. On horseback, we had a spike camp, very primitive camp. Only thing was, it was up in the mountains. It really wasn't a bow hunt. I ended up taking a nice representative on the last day with my guy's rifle. So once you get that red deer bug, hunting red stag, especially with a bow, you want to continue with it. So I looked for a place that was a little more bow friendly. Pua Hawi Ranch here in La Pampa is an amazing bow hunting opportunity for anyone. It's far from easy, but the terrain is more conducive to getting an archery shot. Plus the fact that the guys who run this camp are all archery hunters. So my first year here was incredible. I caught the roar perfectly. You know, every morning we were out, we were catching stags, roaring everywhere. The roar is like the peak of their rut. It was incredible to be a part of, but very, very difficult to get a shot on a good stag with your bow. The problem is that you can't see the animal. You hear the roar, you get within 20 yards of this stag. I guarantee you may be even closer than that, but you can't see the animal. And maybe if you do catch a piece of the body, you can't determine how good the animal is. So it's very, very difficult to get a good stag on camera and to get a clean bow shot.
I got a stag right up over here, but just waiting for the sun to come a little bigger so we can judge him a little better. But we couldn't have got a better week to be here. This roar is intense. Every person hunting here has just heard stags everywhere. You don't know which way to turn. It's pretty thick and tough to get to them, but you can definitely hear them.
After a few days of hunting stag and getting a little frustrated, we noticed that there were water buffalo on this ranch also. So for me, it was like, can we hunt the water buffalo? The answer was yes. I was on my water buffalo hunt. Shooting a water buffalo with a bow could be pretty intimidating. First of all, you need a lot of poundage on your bow, which I already shoot, a very heavy arrow, which I already shoot, and a good clean broadhead that's gonna make incision and get through that rib cage and get into those vitals. I ended up having an incredible bow hunt on a beautiful water buffalo, got him down, got to process and quarter him up in the field, get him back to camp, and we had an amazing time feasting on that water buffalo. So now we get back to hunting red stag, and it was just so difficult. The weather was actually perfect. It was very cool. We were, on stags every day, just couldn't get a clean shot on an animal that I wanted. Lo and behold, we happened to see an animal crossing a meadow, bedded down under a tree. I got a stalk on, left my cameraman and my guide back. I crawled into 68 yards, made the shot, and got an amazing stag. I'm so proud and humbled at this, but to get my hands on a free-range stag of this caliber, 12-point like this, double crowns, just a fantastic animal, and to do it with a bow, it's a pretty special moment. So now it's a few years later, and I'm gonna bring you up to speed. We're back at Pua Hawi Ranch, here in La Pampa, looking for red stag with a bow. Traveling from the States to Buenos Aires is the big city that you'll usually fly into. I flew from Newark Airport in New Jersey to Houston, which is about a 4-hour flight, and then from Houston to Argentina. We landed in Buenos Aires. It's usually an overnight flight. It's about 10, 11 hours in time, and landing in Buenos Aires, again, I've missed the city. I've been here a few times. It is a big city, beautiful, ton of history, amazing culture, a lot to take in when you're in that city. So we took a charter flight from Buenos Aires up to La Pampa. Got to spend some time on the plane with some of the people that I'd be sharing a camp with. Got to see some old friends once I got here and meet some new friends on the way here. One thing I did differently this year was I came pre-roar, pre-rut. I thought that it would be easier to pattern these stag, maybe go into water, go into bedding. It wouldn't be roaring, it wouldn't be as hard to get on them with a bow as it would be during like a peak rut, where animals are running everywhere and chasing the females, which are called hinds.
Fresh track here. This is a stag, and this ground is really soft sand. So this track's pretty fresh. We're gonna see if we can follow this and maybe get on them. It's pretty warm. They're not really roaring this morning. We knew it was gonna be like that early season. But we'll follow this track for a while. Where we are now, we're up on top of this plateau. We can glass down pretty good, so we'll follow this a ways and see if we can spot this stag.
Warmer temperatures had the roars down. We did hear some roaring early in the morning, but like I said, these warm temperatures just had the stag not moving.
Been working our way a few miles, wind shifted, which is good, because now we'll work our way back to where we came from. Really hot this morning. Stags are laying down. We're hoping to catch maybe one bedded. We could work our way in, wait till he stands up and get a shot, but when it's this warm, they're gonna be pretty silent. We'll set up maybe on a waterhole this afternoon. See if we can get on some trails coming to it and catch one coming to drink. Picked up some movement. What's that? Looks like a mother and a fawn. Female. They call them hinds. But you can see how thick it is here. How difficult it is to stalk in. But if you can catch movement like that, you can try to play the wind, set yourself up, have them work their way towards you. There's a chance you get a shot, or if you see them bed up, then you can work your way in. This happens to be a female, but if it was a stag, you'd be on it.
Okay, stay. Yeah.
Saying this is where the stags are rubbing. They're just starting to come into the rut. We heard some roars this morning, but pretty cool to see this. Good sign. Stags in the area. Stay on it.
Now, one thing about the roar is you hear an animal roar. What's different about this than an elk, you would call the elk to you. When you hear these roars, you head in that direction. Try to quietly stalk in to where the roar was.
You hear them roar, but they'll move, so you're going to the last spot you heard them. Especially with the wind blowing this way, they're working working their way side hill and into the wind. We see two females, we don't see the male. The stag's gotta be close. You hear a roar, and that's where they are, but they keep moving, and they got the wind in their face. There's no way to get around on them without losing the wind in our favor, so we're following behind them.
The problem is, once they've roared, they could have moved 150 yards past that. So it's very difficult, especially with a cameraman and a guide, to get in there quietly and not get busted by these stags. So we lucked out on a few stags. We got in close. Nothing we wanted to shoot, but again, it's the experience of being here and getting to hear the roar, go after the stags. That's what it's all about for me.
We heard a few stags roaring this morning. Worked their way down here. Kind of opens up to a meadow. Seems to like to hang out on these things early morning. We also seen some on the evening, but we might target this where we've been hearing the roars. The key is to try to head them off, because you hear the roar and they move, and you're not calling them to you. So they roar and then they move. Just trying to anticipate where they're headed and get there before they do and play the wind.
Needed to change up my tactics. Look, it was warm temperatures. I thought that the stags would definitely be coming to water. So we had a pop-up blind here. We set that up on a water hole, and we were going to sit out our first afternoon on the water. We sat there most of the day. It was really hot in the blind. Anyone who's ever sat in a blind during hot temperatures knows exactly what I'm saying. We didn't see any stags come to water, but we did glass a few last hour of the hunt, last hour of light, out of meadow, maybe 250 yards from where we were. So the next morning, we get back in the blind, hoping that maybe one of these stags who were out all night would come to water. We were dealing with a full moon. Possibly these stags dragged through in the night. But we did see them again back out in that meadow at first light. Then they disappeared. So I made the decision, since nothing was coming to water while we were sitting there, I don't know if it was us, the blind, being there, possibly our wind that was swirling. The animals were coming around downwind and just not coming to the water. I made a decision to move the blind. So about 2 o'clock that afternoon, we moved the blind to the far end where that meadow was, where we had seen the stags. Get the blind set. It's about 2:30 now, 3 o'clock. By the time we're all set, we're sitting there a few hours, and you know that feeling where you're sitting in a blind, you're not expecting to see anything. I'm thinking, you know, that last hour that stags will be moving like we saw the night before. We're sitting there kind of relaxed, not thinking much about it, and all of a sudden I catch movement.
Dear.
We're sitting there kind of relaxed, not thinking much about it, and all of a sudden I catch movement.
Dear.
And there was a female hind coming through the meadow and a stag on her tail.
He's hit. Oh man, he took off. Holy cow. Those deer came out of nowhere. We had a female, a hind, come out first, and there was a stag behind her. Man.
We didn't have a long tracking job. Stag went down and we recovered him, and it's just one of those amazing things. You just don't realize the size of them till you get up on that animal to realize how big they actually are and how incredible this hunt was.
Well, what a rewarding afternoon here in Argentina at Pua Hawi Ranch. It's my second time here, my third time to Argentina, and it never disappoints. We got here a little earlier this year. It's a little pre-roar. We stalked for the first couple of days with no luck. We heard some roars, but not much that we could go on. We're stalking with a bow. We tried setting up on a waterhole with no luck. We moved our blind about 150, 200 yards closer to this field. This stag came in on a hind about 2 hours before last light. Just an amazing animal. Got a 50-yard shot on him. He didn't go very far. And just an unbelievable time here in Argentina.
Just, again, another amazing hunt here at Pua Hawi Ranch. Santi, all the guys that are here, just always bend over backwards. The food's off the charts. The accommodations are amazing. It's an old world hunt, old world European style hunt. The food, like I said, is incredible. And this is another place where I'll be back. I think of all the hunts that I've been on, this will take its place near the top of the list. And it wasn't just because of the hunting, you know, we get to experience a place like Buenos Aires and all the culture that's there, and then go to a ranch like the Pua Hawi Ranch that's been there for such a long time, experience that European culture, being surrounded by great people, you know, to be on a working ranch, to be part of their culture, to be part of their daily activity, and to get to hunt some great animals. It's just an experience that I think every hunter should have.